Can you believe it? It's June, we're going to be running into the middle of summer soon. There's going to be beaches, there's going to be sunbathing, there's going to be a load of fun. But guess what? There's also going to be a load of bonsai tasks. And in fact, there's going to be one critical one that you really must look out for. So if you want to know what they are, then keep on watching, because you're bound to get something from this, if not only a headache.
Good point. Yeah. First sensible thing you've said all day.
Hi, it's Xavier, and welcome to my Bonsai Retreat. And this is the final in my seasonal bonsai guides on tasks I carry out bi-monthly through the year. So guess what? June, July. Hopefully, we're going to get the heat of summer, though I doubt it. There's a number of times when we can muck about with our pines, but a great time for doing it is in the summer. And in particular, for the Japanese white pine, I like to let the spring candles extend, although I might just balance off a few of them. I'm waiting now on all of these, for those candles to start opening up and waiting for that little brown rice paper. In fact, let's get in close so I can show you what I mean. Yeah, I'm waiting for these little sheaths here, and you can already see there's a different coloration. It's almost going a light tan. I'm waiting for those to fall away. And you'll know it because if you shake your tree like that, you'll get little husks falling there. When that happens, then you know it's an absolute great time to candle cut your Japanese white pine. And there'll be a video all about that, so I won't go into that any more detail. And normally, from my experience, that's going to be somewhere around the sort of early to mid-July. And as for those lovely little pink flowers, I've got about 50% coverage on this tree. Well, for me, I leave them, but I know many people do actually like to remove them. I haven't found it makes much difference, to be honest. Now, the second thing that always for me is a big one in the summer, when it's nice and dry and hot, and the trees have gone dormant, and that's a big point to remember here. Most of our trees go dormant. In fact, point two, that's also when I don't fertilise. So in these sort of summery type months, no fertiliser. Because the tree's gone dormant, and basically all that do is it'll sit on top and either provide stuff for the birds to eat, or worst case, if it's the UK, it'll just rot, and this stuff costs money, so you don't want to waste it on the trees. You can always whack it on back again in the autumn time. So that's point two. Point three, I'm doing the deadwood carving. Now you know that this magnificent privet stump, first one I'd worked on, and there's a video up there. I had my first real go at using, the bonsai nibblers and stuff like that, and had great fun working on this and looking at it. Actually, it's looking really quite effective. So what I will be doing is getting the old blowtorch onto it, scraping and just refining that even further, getting deep into here, and also my deadwood preserver. That seems to have had quite a good job on that. So yeah, we've got some suckers to get rid of as well. But yeah, so deadwood work. So now we're in the last month of spring. Most of us have probably done our first round of pruning cycle, but yours truly is still a little bit behind the ball. But what I will be doing is catching up on a lot of the maples, hornbeams, beeches. You can still continue to prune through the growing season, but primarily I've got to tackle these trident maples so that I can get right back to the growth right in close, so I can get some nice, tight, compact new shoots to take us through the summer. And as for task 5, he says removing this triffid from him, it's my favourites. Storm redwoods. Now, strangely enough, this year, the response hasn't been brilliant, and I don't know whether that's an overly wet spring or just a little bit tired, I don't know, but normally this growth and this frond stuff is really vibrant and really coming out a long way. But to be fair, it's looking a bit fried, frazzled and cooked. So this may not be a great year for Dawn redwoods. Do you know what? Sometimes you've just got to take the punches with the good stuff. And I think sometimes that's the frustrating thing about bonsai. You can have 3 or 4 years of the growth is brilliant, and then you look here and the fronds themselves are looking very weak. But that does produce a positive reaction from the tree, which I haven't seen ever before. I think it's interesting. I mean, if you look just here, although I haven't got, I mean, there's just starting to go ruby there, but it's a very, very weak structure, and I definitely don't want to be doing any pruning. So the tree is responding this way, and there's lots of little buds coming out all around on that branch. So hopefully I'm going to get loads of nice growth from here, where, to be honest, I wouldn't normally expect it. So definitely keep an eye out on your dawn redwoods, and I'll say now, big proviso, certainly if we're going to have a warmer summer, wet feet. I keep them down on the ground, shaded by benches. I give them practically no sun, or direct sun anyway. But yeah, this will be an interesting video. So if you want to see the video on this dawn redwood, then make sure to hit bell notifications, you know, the old ding ding. Anyway, let's crack on. I think task 6, I hope. Now, task 6 for me is always the Satsuki azaleas. They always amaze me because every time I look at mine, I always think, oh, not going to flower this year because I can't see the buds. Then suddenly, out of the blue, I don't know if it's because I've got poor eyesight or what, they suddenly come up in these big pink blooms. And, you know, you've seen many of the Satsukis blooming in previous videos. But yeah, this one, what I do want to do is once the blooming's finished, which is going to be probably late June, early July, I will look at seriously reducing these back to here. And I'm going to cut these back really, really hard, with an idea of promoting back budding right lower down here on the branches, because I want to bring this in a lot tighter and a lot more compact. And you can also do your repotting of your Satsukis as well. Now I also find, because the oaks bloom much later in the spring, they're also the last ones where I carry out defoliation, and that normally drags on into the sort of early to mid-June. So I'll start looking at the leaves on these forest groups, and in fact all my oaks, because they normally come out in 5-leaf swirls. I'll reduce them to 2 or 3 leaves. That sits in with the profile of what it is I'm designing, and I'll also do leaf cutting. At the moment, these are a lovely size, probably the best size to admire your oaks. But when they start getting a bit bigger, then I'll fold them over, cut them and do some leaf cutting on them. So yeah, for me, busy time for oaks, partial semi-defoliation. Never ever do a full defoliation on oak. Anyway, the next of the tasks is my Scots pine, or pine generally, and this year, absolute incredible flush of candles. I did a little bit of candle pinching, but as you saw in an earlier video, I've left quite a lot to extend outward, because all I've been trying to do is give these as much opportunity to gain energy. But guess what? As the mid-June, early July starts approaching, or during that period, I'm going to start getting in there, getting some wire on, bending them all up, putting loads of stress and strain on them, maybe doing some candle cutting. Very, very straightforward principle. Once these things have opened up and all that energy is back down there in the roots, if I'm happy with my branches, I'll start cutting these. You know, you might have something that's 1 inch long, and I'll cut it right back down to 2 or 3 leaf pairs, 2 or 3 needle pairs. But again, that'll come up in a future video. But it's not just the pines either. I've got a load of junipers down here, probably 8, 9, 10, but I also need to seriously have a look at doing some styling and shaping on. Do you know how much I love junipers? But for those of you who do, again, June, July is another great time to do some wiring and styling and shaping and bending and weeping and whatever.
You know, he has such a way with words.
Task 8 is really the Japanese larch, because I treat them just a little bit more individually. Because if you treat them well and get the timings right, you can get at least 3 decent pruning cycles out of them and get all that ramification. So this will be pruned probably today or tomorrow, end of May. And then I'll be looking at, I don't know, mid-June, maybe 5, 6 weeks later, to go in again and do its second pruning cycle and try and get those buds. What you're trying to do is to get that ramification closer and closer in, with a view of hopefully sometime in late July, even maybe early August, the 3rd round of pruning. But yeah, so definitely watch out for your larches. It's another great time to prune back to try and increase the chance of ramification. Now, to be fair, I've normally already done my pruning on my Ficus. These came outside probably 3-4 weeks ago, and I've normally done a full defoliation on all of them. It's been wet and miserable, and I've been busy with other things, so it didn't happen then. So there's nothing stopping me doing that in June. So again, over the next week or two, we're going to get a full defoliation of all of this growth, with the idea of getting some nice, new, tight, compact growth, greater ramification. that's going to take us and see us through the summer months. But as you know, this project, again, link up there, is dedicated to the Nigel Saunders School of Clip and Grow. So let's see if I can stay true to that and leave the wire alone. And guess what? I've got an absolute load of sort of Yamadori or sort of nursery material that just hasn't seen the light of day, and you certainly haven't seen it. Things like this great big hornbeam dug up back in 2017. Well, I'm looking at doing air layers. So I'll be looking at a few of these hornbeams, beech, and I may even do a holly as well. So air layers are definitely going to be happening first week in June. And I've actually been a little bit late. I normally get these done end of May. And I don't know, week 9, 10, 11. Anyway, we're somewhere in one of those upper tasks. It's June, July, middle of summer. Great time to repot your olives. Now, as you know, I repotted these last year or year before, so they're definitely not going to get repotted. But we'll be having a look at them to see how the growth is coming on. And certainly we're starting to get more shoots out of that. So if you've got olives you've got to repot, give it another month or so. So we've got the heat of the midsummer, and that's the time to do it. Certainly for me, I've found anyway. In fact, what am I talking about? This is an olive. It's in this great big pot, meant to come out last year. It's certainly not looking very healthy. Normally, that would be a reason for me not to repot. But in this instance, I'm more worried that the roots are actually causing the problem. I want to get in there and have a look. So give it another 3 or 4 weeks, you'll be seeing a video about this repot. Right, moving up to task 11, 12, 13, goodness knows, it'll probably come up on the screen, I imagine. Yeah, we've really got to talk about the elephant in the room. That elephant is a very good way to bring this up because they've got big trunks, and what do they blow out of those trunks? Water. And we're going to be going to summer. You know what? If you've got a free draining soil, you need to be able to watch and keep an eye on how quickly that's drying out. If you've used an organic mix, then probably watering once a day is going to be fine, which is what I've always done. But certainly since I've gone to the zeolite pumice mix, when the sun's out, I'm watering twice a day. And I know that if we're going to summer, I'm going to be watering 3 times a day. So you've definitely got to keep your eye on the weather and not let these things dry out. Because who wants to do all this hard work for bonsai and then let them die just because you've got to water them? You don't do that with your children, do you? Enough said. And I suppose the only other task I'll be looking at, I've got my other indoor varieties here, which is my Jade, or could be the Portucularis. I'm doing a growth experiment on these. Certainly this has gone a long way from where it was last year. But again, during the summer months, great time to either repot it if you want, but also to do some heavy pruning. So have a look out for your Jades. Now, as I cozy up to my very large and healthy Trident maple whip, which is hopefully healing what's going on down below, I look up at the sun and remember that it's not just water we need to watch out for, it's also shade as well. Because our delicate scalps, along with our delicate leaves, need to be protected from the harshness of the UK sun. And we know with the blistering temperatures we get, it can be like, I don't know, Death Valley sometimes, can't it? Or the Nullarbor.
Welcome to Death Valley National Park.
It gets pretty bleak in the middle of summer in the UK and Grantham. So good headgear, good sun cream, and remember, shade cloth or get your trees somewhere where they're protected. The last thing you want to do is stunt off all that lovely growth, new shoots that you've worked so diligently to obtain. Because it happens to us all. Anyway, from Xavier, I hope you've enjoyed this final of the bi-monthly seasonal task set roundup. If you want to know what's going in for August, then go back to the playlist, which you'll see in the description, or in fact up there. And really, all I can say to you is I appreciate that you've watched these. Hopefully you've got something out of them. If there's anything at all that I haven't mentioned, bearing in mind this is unique to the Bonsai Retreat and may vary in other parts of the country, then whack something down in comments. Otherwise, I've also got a very long overdue task. This is Andy's Tanuki challenge. Andy of Bonsai Crazy. Everyone else has cracked on with theirs, but mine is just sat in the corner. I've got to get the old flame torch onto it and the drill and goodness knows what and try and turn that into a Tanuki. So, if you've liked this, big thumbs up. If you know of anyone who you think might benefit or enjoy this, then please share it on whichever social media platform you can, because you know, algorithm, as one of my subscribers said, certainly likes that. And I wish you all the best for your summer. Enjoy it, enjoy your family, enjoy your treats. Oh, and if you're wondering why I've got this box in front of me, it's because best time, I leave my box right through the spring. I let the growth flush right out. In the early June, that's when I start doing my pruning. From then on, I'll prune to shape. So I'll be doing these as well. Anyway, happy bonsai and God bless. Cheers.